Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark, Sarah, and Pam got her phone back.
Yay!
Not in the same condition I left it, but here it is, nonetheless. Usable, so all good.
There you go.
We are covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Give us a listen at lydiamediallc.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
Today's show is brought to you by UPI Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, serving residential and commercial customers with new installations and repairs. Call today and schedule your oil and gas boiler cleanings, 754-4556. UPI, the best plumbers around. And by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 6 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com. And remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
They're also the proud sponsor of Tasting Tales.
That's right.
Every Thursday here on the Lunch Bunch. Shanna, you picked the wrong day.
I was going to say I picked the wrong day. I'm going to pop up on Thursdays. And of course
She's noting it now.
Yeah.
Yes. Our guest in studio is the president and CEO of the Lewiston Auburn Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce and fellow podcaster.
Yeah.
Shanna Cox, welcome.
That news breaks this week. We're so excited.
It's good stuff.
Thanks. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys.
We are going to talk about your new podcast and a whole lot more coming up in just a bit. But right now, let's take a look at some headlines for Tuesday, October the 8th.
78-year-old James Halliday of Auburn is in critical condition, and 36-year-old Albert Deshane of Peru suffered serious injuries following a 2-vehicle crash in Auburn. Police responded to the scene near the Turner Town Line on Route 4 yesterday around 10:30 a.m. Deshane's pickup truck hydroplaned crossed the center line and collided with Halliday's SUV. The crash remains under investigation.
Auburn Public Works will begin repairing a sinkhole on Center Street at the on-ramp intersection of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Bridge. Work will begin tomorrow night with lane closures and detours in place. Paving will begin on Thursday morning, and all lanes are expected to reopen at noon on Thursday.
I'm very curious about sinkholes.
They're terrifying.
They show up anywhere.
Out of the blue, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm on a bridge.
Swallow a car.
So scary.
I'm on a bridge. I was on a bridge.
So weird. Early voting in the city of Lewiston is now open Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the city council chambers at 27 Pine Street. Over a dozen voting booths will accommodate residents through the end of the month. Early voters may also request an absentee ballot. The statewide deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 31st. More information can be found at maine.gov.
Lewiston-based Geiger was recognized by the Wellness Council of America with the Silver Well Workplace Award for its commitment to employee health and well-being. Geiger is the world's largest family-owned and privately held promotional product distributor.
WGME meteorologist Charlie Lopresti set a new giant pumpkin state record at the Damariscotta Pumpkin Fest. Lopresti's gargantuan gourd weighed in at 2,365.5 pounds. 244 pounds heavier than the previous record.
Can't forget about that 0.5.
0.5.
Can we make a jack-o'-lantern? Or is this like the boat kind of pumpkin? Like you're just making a boat. Have you seen the boat contest for pumpkins?
No.
Oh, they have contests like that with the really big pumpkins, and then they hollow them out and you race them in the river. There's a couple of communities that do it.
It's
interesting.
gotta
looks like
be
a lot
big
of fun.
enough to get inside
Yes.
at 2,300
I don't
pounds.
think it's a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin.
No.
It's kind
It's
of
probably real
funky
flat on
looking.
one side, though,
Yeah.
so
It
I bet
is.
it would be a good
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah.
Right.
Cut off
it-
the top,
Yeah.
scoop it out.
It looks really sad.
Yes.
It's
Oh, it's
sad,
it's
it's a
not.
sad-looking pumpkin. Yeah, but he could carve it into like a garage or something.
I mean, like
Park his car in it.
that's more than a metric. That is the size of a car,
ton.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
or at least
Yep.
a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Small car.
Small
A
car.
Honda Fit.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Go, Charlie. In today's weather, sunny with a high of 59 and a low of 45. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 58 and a chance of rain on Thursday with temps in the mid-50s. So there, take that, Charlie. You
Take
go
that,
grow your
Charlie.
pumpkin. I'll take care of the weather.
Next year, Mark will grow a pumpkin. Bigger than Charlie Lopresti's.
Good luck.
In sports, yes. The Bruins open their season on the road against the Florida Panthers tonight at 7. Yes.
Sarah's very excited.
Very excited.
The Bruins get to watch the Florida Panthers raise their Stanley Cup banner tonight, too.
Oh,
I think that may have been on
baloney.
purpose.
That's
Yeah.
motivation.
Yeah, it is motivation.
Oh, man,
Yep,
that's got to sting a little.
So they're in Florida tonight?
yeah.
They need to get back out.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody tell the Bruins. Book your return flight right now, guys. In and out.
There was a question
go.
as to whether or not they were actually going to play tonight.
Yeah,
So
they might
They were
not.
already down
They
there.
Canceled yesterday's game in Tampa Bay, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Central Maine Community College women's soccer beat UMaine Augusta 5-1. CM men's soccer will host UMA today at 6.
On our high school scoreboard in field hockey, it was Edward Little over Bangor 2-1. Gardner shutting out Lewiston 4-0. Gray New Gloucester North Yarmouth over Freiburg Academy 4-0. And Lisbon shut out Telstar 2-0.
And in girls soccer, it was Winthrop over Lisbon 3-1. That's your news, weather, and sports. And right now, it is time for the podcast segment that is sweeping the Twin Cities. We had 10 people in the studio yesterday saying sweeping.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It made my week.
It doesn't take much, I guess, on that.
Makes Mark very happy.
That and bad movies. He's so easy. Sweeping the nation.
we said
Sweeping the Twin Cities.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for October the 8th, shall we?
Yes.
We're going to start off with Angus T. Jones, who played Jake Harper on 2.5 Men. Little
not a-
Jake Harper is 31 years old today.
Not a little kid anymore.
Wow.
No, he appeared in 226 episodes.
Wow.
Started his career in 2003 and ended his career by encouraging people to stop watching the show.
Oh.
Yeah, because he called it filth.
Bold move.
He was baptized in 2012, and I guess his morals changed.
Oh.
Yeah.
He became pretty religious.
Yep. In 2010, he was the highest paid child star in television,
Wow.
raking in $300,000 per episode.
I wonder how much
insane.
filth he had to do to put that much money in his pocket.
I wonder if he's
Is
given
he
any.
working now? Like, is
not
he like,
sure.
that was good. I peaked. Talk about peaking early. I'm 17. I'm done.
I have several $1 million. I'm going to
Yeah.
encourage people to stop watching the
A
show.
house an episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No,
Well,
for real.
barely.
2019 house an episode.
There you go. Back when he was doing it, probably two houses.
Right.
Singer and songwriter Bruno Mars is 39 years old today.
He's on my bucket list. I'd love to see him
He's
in concert.
pretty cool, huh?
I heard he
Could
puts on a
entertain-
good show.
Wrong bucket list, Shanna.
What happened? Oh, this is
She
good.
went down.
For a concert.
She wants to see a
Totally.
show, Shanna.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I mean, me too. That was like why I paused.
Yeah.
It resonates so deeply,
Look at
Pam.
her eyes are bugged out. I'm like, what?
She didn't say hall pass.
The way she said it, that's I guess, yeah.
That's what Shanna heard.
I love these early mornings, you guys. It's so good.
Bruno has sold over 130 million records worldwide, and he also didn't he perform at a Super Bowl halftime, and everybody ranted and raved
Yeah.
about it. One of the best ones.
Wasn't it the
ever.
24 karat? Like, was this like the big song that he sang at the Super Bowl?
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got an interesting thing where he can kind of emulate other artists when he sings, and I think that's really cool. Ariana Grande can do that too.
Yeah,
She's incredible.
she is pretty amazing.
Actor and screenwriter Matt Damon is 54 today. He is.
Is he? Why do you put? He's
will-
on Shanna's bucket list.
actor to me.
He's
She's
on
on-
my he's on my wife's bucket list
See?
as well. Yeah, like it wouldn't even
Shout
be.
out to her.
Yeah, it's-
I can appreciate that. He's such a good actor. Just coffee.
He is.
That's what
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking about, right?
yeah.
Coffee.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
I'd have coffee with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of a dynamic duo. He and Ben Affleck.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's
From
one
Boston.
that I think there's one that shines a little brighter than the other.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Jason Bourne
One is
series.
Jason Bourne. The other one was married to Jennifer Lopez.
And gave up half his name in the process.
That's right.
Like, just combine names. It's great.
Matt made his acting debut in the 1988 film Mystic Pizza, which also starred Julia Roberts.
Roberts.
A very
Yeah.
young Julia Roberts back then. And then he and Ben Affleck got together and wrote and starred in Good Will Hunting, and the
world
rest is
changed
history.
forever.
Yep.
Yep.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies that he's in is called Dogma.
Oh, that's a
It's
good
a
one.
Kevin Smith movie. Oh my gosh, he's like, the movie's okay, but the cast is amazing, and he's definitely right up there with everybody. Alan Rickman's in it.
George Carlin is in
George
it.
Carlin, Salma Hayek. All just such a good movie.
I just love that he was a nerd in Good Will Hunting, and that was cool in
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
He was
As
still
like
hot.
a math team member in high school, I was like, oh, finally a math star makes it in the world. I love that. Square root, do it, man. You're doing great up there.
He was also in Saving Private Ryan
Oh yeah.
and The Departed.
Departed.
Just
that
like
one?
that too. Yep.
The
You from
Departed.
Southie?
That was a good one.
You a Southie, Mark?
Christopher Joseph Ward is 59 years old today, better known as C.J. Ramone. Yep. He was the bass player for the Ramones from 1989 to 1996 and had the unenviable task of replacing Dee Dee Ramone. He was in the band for 7 years, did great. CJ was discharged from the Marines and learned 40 Ramones songs in 5 weeks and went to audition, had no stress about it because he didn't figure he'd be selected. Just went for the fun of it and got hired on the spot by Johnny Ramone.
That's incredible.
That's
Pretty
the way
cool.
things work. Like, when you're
Yeah.
not, stressed out about it and you just,
Yeah.
I
Let
got
it
nothing
roll.
to lose.
Yeah.
40 Ramones songs in 5 weeks, which isn't...
That's a lot.
It sounds like a lot, but Ramones songs are about a minute and a half long. So you can learn a bunch of them in a short amount of time. Comedian Daryl Hammond is 69 years old today from Saturday Night Live fame.
He does a really good Bill Clinton impression.
He does. He does a lot of great
Really
impressions.
good.
Yeah. He was on the show from 1995 to 2009 and has been its announcer since 2014.
Wow. Neat.
He also did killer impressions of Al Gore, John McCain, Regis Philbin, Dick Cheney, Chris Matthews, Phil Donahue, Phil McGraw, Ted Koppel,
Oh, his Ted Koppel is spot on.
John Travolta, Jesse Jackson. Haven't seen that one.
Okay.
Geraldo Rivera and Dan Rather and Sean Connery in the recurring
that's a good
Celebrity
one. Yeah.
Jeopardy skits.
So good. I
do love that.
one.
Robert Cool Bell of Kool and the Gang is 74 years old today.
Ouch.
I think their biggest hit has got to be Celebration.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Jungle Boogie.
Yeah, Jungle Boogie was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
It was in, I think, the opening scene of Pulp Fiction.
It gave it a whole second life, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
one
whole
thing
soundtrack did
Quentin
for a bunch.
Tarantino did
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, Son of a Preacher Man is an incredible song.
Yeah.
And then I went and downloaded it. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Kool and the Gang this year. Let's see here. Oh, Sigourney Weaver.
I love her.
75 years old today.
Wow.
I saw a meme yesterday about Sigourney Weaver. I was like, before Sigourney, people had to weave their Sigourneys alone. I stared at it like a solid minute and was like, I think that's funny.
It is funny.
But I wasn't sure until this moment. It's kind of funny.
It's pretty funny.
Very funny.
She has won 2 Golden Globes, a Grammy, and 3 Academy Awards, and 4 Primetime Emmy Awards, and a Tony. She's done it all.
Didn't know
Yes.
that she could sing.
She also did some voiceover work for Wall-E and Finding Dory.
Yes, she's the voice of the aquarium in Finding Dory.
A lot of people from my generation know her as Ellen Ripley from Alien,
Oh, yeah.
a film that she refused to watch.
It's scary.
She was too scared.
That makes
Scary.
sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, she was very good in
I
that.
wouldn't be able to help myself.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch the movie if I.
I don't know.
I'd watch it.
I do things that I do it and I walk away. I don't listen
I don't wanna see it again.
I don't watch the news when I'm on the news. It's not. No, I can see that. I can never go into the theater to see that one.
All right.
Yeah.
There's an actor, Adam Driver, who refuses to watch any of his own work
Yeah.
or even listen to his own work.
Yeah.
How do you?
I don't know.
People tell you. You have trusted people in your life who tell you and you
Okay.
listen, but you don't have to see it. And seeing it is biased. I'm either going to see it and think that I did worse than I did, or want it
Right.
it's not honest feedback when it's your own viewing of yourself. Yeah, I would probably check out too, honestly.
Chevy Chase is 81 years old. Sarah can't relate. Why would you do that? Chevy Chase is 81 years old today. Speaking of SNL fame, he was a breakout cast member of their first season in 1975, and I think was the pioneer of the Weekend Update segment. He was the
yeah.
first news anchor there. Yeah,
You might be right.
He was also in a great movie with Goldie Hawn and Charles Grodin production called Foul Play. He also played Ty Webb in Caddyshack and Caddyshack 2. Are you guys serious?
Come on, guys. How about National Lampoon?
I've seen Caddyshack, but it wasn't, like, I didn't love it, so it wasn't something I watched over and over.
Gotcha.
National Lampoons, yes, definitely.
Yeah, the vacation movies are great. He was also in Three Amigos,
Three Amigos.
with
That was
Steve
a
Martin
fun
and Martin
movie.
Short, and Spies Like Us with Dan Aykroyd. He's done it all.
I don't think I saw that one.
What was the movie where him and his wife moved to a house in the country and he was a writer and then they hated the town hated them? They had a
Beetlejuice?
yellow dog. I compare Lydia to Yellow Dog all the time.
Old Yeller?
I don't know.
I don't think that's his name.
Who played his wife?
It's going to drive me.
I'm going to look it up.
She was blonde.
I'm going to Google it.
Do some research.
Rounding out FBBs for October the 8th. It's been a good one. We got a lot of
There's
A-listers
a lot
here.
of, yeah.
Rounding out FPBs for October the 8th is Paul Hogan, 85 years old today.
Wow.
Crocodile Dundee himself.
Yeah.
Paul Hogan was 46 years old in the original Crocodile Dundee.
You know, if you rewatch it now, you're like, yeah, oh yeah, he was.
Yeah. But he looked good.
Yeah.
There's been a lot
That's
of...
not a knife.
I was just going to say, there's been a lot of, that's not a knife, around our house the last couple of weeks because of the accidental stabbing. So he's come up a few times.
The Chevy Chase movie I was thinking of was Funny Farm.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So it
loved
wasn't
that movie.
Old Yeller. I stand corrected.
I was sure it was Old Yeller. I was on Team Mark for that one for sure. It had to have been, right?
Team Mark.
Oh, are we on teams? Do we? I'll be on your team next time, Sarah.
It's okay. You don't want to be on my team.
Paul Hogan was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay and won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy for his performance as Crocodile Dundee in '86.
I watched that movie a lot of times.
Did he do anything after that?
He did Crocodile
I was gonna
Dundee
say
2.
Another Crocodile Dundee.
I'm pretty sure there was multiple.
Besides the Crocodile Dundee series.
He just became a handsome Australian man.
All right.
I know if I was 46, so 2 years from now, when I'm 46, and I do a Crocodile Dundee like movie and get a sequel out of it,
And make so much money.
I'm cashing out my
Yeah.
chips.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Done.
And have a catchphrase that lasts 50 plus years.
That's not
right?
He made it. He made it.
We all knew it.
What's left to do in life at that point?
Yeah.
Retire and wrestle alligators. Go for it.
Start a podcast.
Crocs. They're Crocs in Australia, no?
Those are your FPBs for October the 8th. Looking for a tasty meal? We have over a dozen options. Banking services? Plenty to choose from. Holiday gift ideas? Yep, we have that too. These are just a few of the resources you'll find in the October issue of Uncle Andy's Digest, along with jokes, funny stories, shout-outs, an events calendar, advertiser directory, and a whole lot more. Uncle Andy's Digest, your guide to, well, just about anything. Pick up your free copy today and visit UncleAndys.com. Now, we shift focus to our guest, Shanna Cox.
Aw.
How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, it's your big moment.
I love that. Thanks for having me.
We dim the lights. We get a spotlight up here.
I mean, I love that
Shining on you.
I've been able to participate all along.
Well, you're
would
supposed
be.
to.
I know.
That's why we introduce you at the very
so
top.
good. Thank you.
Yeah, then you're welcome to chime in whenever.
I did without
It's-
the welcoming.
It's all by design.
I love that. You guys are designing like great things over here.
You are our
Thank you.
first repeat guest.
I'm so excited, you guys.
You should be.
I really am.
It's a big deal.
Listen, I miss you. When we're not together, I miss you guys. I do.
Same.
So you just wrapped up Taste the Harvest last week.
So Taste the Harvest, for folks who don't know, Taste the Harvest, we shut down the last leg of Lisbon Street in Lewiston between Ash and Main. We work with the restaurants on that street and some additional restaurants to serve a tapas-style multi-course meal. In addition to that, we have this year, this was some of the new elements. We had a photo booth, which go on our Facebook. Some of the photos from the photo booth are great. I don't know that people realize that the photos become ours. We love that. We did filter some out. Shout out to Becca, our director of marketing at the Chamber, who was like, so some of the photos didn't make it to the public view. I was like, thank you. Thank you very much. Good job. I'm not sure everyone would love that part. So there's the photo booth.
If you ever want to run for public office, I did you a favor.
They weren't my photos. There was so we work with Ginger Snap, who does incredible photo booths
Love
with really
her.
great props.
Yeah.
It's a harvest. So there were gourds. we
Use your imagination.
We did not see the potential for what would happen with a case full of gourds on a table, and then we saw what it was.
Don't you, Shanna?
Attention to detail is something that I'm usually really good at, and then that day there was a lot of details, and gourds felt perfectly in theme with harvest, and they were well received by our guests. So
There's some good photos
there's
here.
some really good photos.
Yep,
You can try to bribe Becca to get the unfiltered roll of film if you want.
Oh.
She I don't know if she'd do it, but there were some really great photos. It was a lot of fun. And then so the farmers market joined us. We had 8 pop-up vendors for a pop-up market collaboration. We have all of the restaurants. We had campfires in the street.
That was so cool.
It was really, it just,
neat.
as the event went on, and so it was like, I mean, it's a short event. For all things considered, we do a 2-day festival sometimes in July, so this feels like a short event to us. The event starts at 4, it wraps up by 7. It's a dinner time. We had a cappella singers from Bates who did, so the Deansmen were the last of the 4 to perform, and I'm staring at them, and they're singing Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan and in full tuxedos. Wow. It was the best mashup moment, and I think really captured what the event ended up being, because there was so many different cultures, generations, just all kinds of different folks sitting around fires together, snacking on the same food from the same vendor together. It was just a really, really incredible event. We had the Baxter Beer Garden there, and we sold a lot of wine. And, previously, and we're trying to make this event more and more accessible. So previously, you had tickets, you got your tickets. You were able to go to each of the food vendors and get your full meal, essentially, at whatever pace you want. This year, we did that. We had a VIP section as well. But in addition to that, we tried to add these other elements so that people who don't want 6 courses or want to visit one of the restaurants who are also open can come down and still enjoy it and see how great it is to be able to walk on the street, to have a space that's really dedicated to pedestrians, to remind folks how safe the downtown is. And the thing that's the hardest to control, the weather, really cooperated with us. And we've had 2 rainy Taste the Harvest previously. So we were all nervous. And last year, because of some capacity changes in some of our partner restaurants, we had to make the really difficult choice to cancel it much later than we would have liked to have done. I think it was about 6 weeks before the event. And so we really took the time to kind of reimagine the event and figure out how the event could be sustainable, how we could withstand changes in the capacity of restaurants, harvest season. So we, if you come to the event, it's fun. There's good food, there's things to do, there's things to buy. It's a good time. We want you to have a good time.
Right.
Underneath that, this is a key piece of our economic growth strategy. And for this, we're really supporting the food economy. And there's a couple of different components of that. But most, kind of tangibly, we put between $6,000 and $8,000 into local farmers and food producers' pocket by doing this event. So we buy all of the ingredients from local farms. We give those ingredients to the chefs who prepare the food. And I'll tell you, it's a lot harder to shave and then cut and then dice and clean a butternut squash than it is to buy it in the prepackaged, diced, cook ready. So we also work with the culinary students from the Green Ladle program who help these chefs the days before the event and then work with the chef to serve the night of. So there's this really great workforce connection as well. And so, if you come and you get a beer, you get a glass of wine, and you have a couple of great dishes, and you say, this was so much fun, fantastic, that's what we want. But underneath that is some very intentional strategies that we're doing to support workforce, our hospitality industry, our farmers, our food economy. And the more that we can do that and grow that, I think this event can be really significantly impactful. And so, we couldn't have been more pleased with how it went. We were really, really excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
It looks like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And you have a breakfast coming up this Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Covering a pretty hot topic.
So it's going to be a big breakfast. Yeah. We're capped at, I think, 170 and sold out. Yeah, I think we sold out the last seats yesterday. So it's the Paid Family Medical Leave Act. And for folks who don't know, whether you're an employee or an employer, you're going to want to be paying attention to this. There's a national Paid Family Medical Leave Act. Some folks are kind of like, well, so there's always been a FMLA. Maine has instituted some additional policy, some additional language. It's supposed to start in January. Spoiler alert, It might not start in January. If the merit program is any indication, it might have a little bit more of a runway. But if you have 15 employees or more, there's some really significant increases in steps that you have to do to be able to support your employees, to monitor their use of the FMLA. And because everything medical also has this element of HIPAA and confidentiality, as you would want, it's kind of like the reporting from an employee who has to trigger using FMLA goes to the state. And then the state notifies with kind of like redacted information what you need to know. There's a whole lot to it, and employers are very concerned. I think it's going to be a significant onus on employers to manage the HR piece of it. There's going to be a lot of time required, a lot of paperwork required. In addition to that, if you're an employer, you have to pay into the program. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest contentious points as the rulemaking process has gone out, and they just closed the comments on the rulemaking process September 30th. And so we'll see what might still change. Potentially some elements did change throughout the rulemaking process because people were just so mad. Mm-hmm. The employers would have to pay in. And then at the 18-month point, then they could opt out of the program, and any money that they paid in would be forfeited to the insurance of the state, which is insane to have to pay that and not know that you can opt out, or even know and see the eligibility criteria and not be able to. They've changed that to 1 quarter now. So employers will still have to pay in for a quarter, and then they can opt out. But if you, and it's not a choice. Opting out means you prove that your own policies and own coverage meet the bare minimum of the state's requirement. And if not, then you have to continue to be into it and pay into the program. And so people should be concerned. I will say, though, the breakfast is sold out. So we have the deputy director of the Department of Labor's Paid Family Medical Leave Act program. So he's the guy implementing this program. One of my team members, Katie, saw him speak, I don't know, a couple months ago. And I think it took more than an hour and a half. And he still wasn't done with all of the content because there's so many questions. And not all the questions are answered yet, right? Like the rulemaking is literally not done. So in addition to the breakfast, you can go to lametrochamber.com. This is a free session, October 30th, and we're doing a 90-minute deep dive.
Oh, nice.
So, like, we know for a fact that you are not going to get all your questions answered in it's just too big a topic in a 20-minute breakfast. So folks who attend or don't this week can then also go register for this webinar, and you'll be able to get a little bit deeper. You'll be able to ask maybe some specific questions about your own scenarios. So it was really important for us to have that follow-up in place as we started. It's a big deal. Yeah.
It is.
Eat Local Challenge.
Yeah. So that's what Taste the Harvest kicked off, and I'm so excited about it.
I loved that last year. That was so much fun. I just got a memory that popped up in my Facebook page about going to Luchador Tacos, and I actually entered the contest and I won something last year.
See, tell people. So play and win, guys. Yeah. It's one of those contests where everybody wins when you play. So the Eat Local Challenge starts for the entire month of October after Taste the Harvest. So we kicked it off last Wednesday, and you can go to our social media. You can check out our website. If you go to discoverlamaine.com, you'll find kind of all of the deeper in-depth information. The challenge to you is to go support local, go grab that dish, support these restaurants. But there's a couple of different ways that you can win. You can actually submit a recipe that's your favorite recipe of things that you're making with local food. You can go to any agritourism. So go to Wallingford's and pick your apples, take a photo. The trick is to post your photo, make sure that your settings are public. Otherwise, we won't know that you did it. We can't help you win. But hashtag LAMCC Eat Local. Did I get that right?
You did.
Thanks. I'm so good. Becca will be so grateful and proud of me when I get back. So you enter that hashtag and you post it, and you're entered to win a weekly raffle. And since we didn't get a full weekend, we'll be doing it on Monday. Since we didn't get a full weekend the first week, we're going to roll it through till Monday and then pull 2 winners next Monday. So, and if you are not on social media, go to the website, and there's a way to submit your recipe or your photo right there. You can tell us whether you want it to be public or not. It doesn't need to be, but we would love to recognize you. And what's at stake here? More than $100 a week in farmers market bucks, as well as gift cards to local restaurants.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So like, go support local. Have some good food. Visit a farm, make a recipe.
When I pick up my CSA, I'll take a picture of Benny the farm dog for you guys.
Thank you.
He's so cute.
Don't forget to hashtag it. That'd be great.
Hashtag LAMCC Eat Local.
Thank you.
That's my problem. I'm, we're out eating local all the time. And then after the fact, I'm like, oh.
You need to put a Post-it note. Just take a photo of the food, and then at the end of the week, you can post them all at once.
That's the problem. I get my food, and I'm like, yes. And then I'm like,
She's focused on eating.
We will accept, like, just bring the restaurant menu into the focus, and then have like a plate with crumbs.
It was delicious.
Totally counts. I also never remember to take the photo before I start eating. And then I'm like, maybe this is just an action photo.
And I loved what you did last year as part of your marketing. There was a piece that reminded people that so many memories are made at these establishments.
Yeah, thanks. So part of the reality of Eat Local last year, and part of what we're realizing this year, is we started it for the Eat Local Challenge. And then October 25th happened. And so we extended elements of the Eat Local Challenge right through until February to support our really hard-hit hospitality industry. And the truth is, whether you got engaged at a restaurant, whether you're celebrating your grandmother's birthday at a restaurant, whether it's your own birthday, whether you're finally connecting with your girlfriends and it's over the espresso martini, right? Like, so many memories are made in these local restaurants that are gathering places for us. And supporting local means supporting them and ensuring that when you want to celebrate your next event, that they're still there serving up that amazing food or those cold drinks. And yeah, so support local. And I mean that in the most deep in my veins kind of way, because these folks are owners. These folks make tough choices. It's been a tough year for hospitality. So get out there and support our friends and families. Otherwise, you're not going to have local options.
Right. That restaurant you love might not be there next week.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up, Mark, because it's a really important part for us. I mean, I think folks on the outside, if you're not a chamber member and you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, the chamber's just for business people, which is great. We do a lot for businesses. But underneath all of that, we really genuinely believe in the people who run these businesses and the people that they employ, oftentimes thought of as families and cared for as families by owner operators. And at the end of the day, like, it's community. Yep. Business is community and vice versa.
We are just over a couple of weeks away from the October 25th Commemoration Event.
It's coming right up. Yeah. So the October 25th Commemoration Event there's a number of events happening throughout that week and into that weekend. We've tried to be very public about the event that we're doing and to coordinate with other stakeholders so that we can make sure events aren't on top of each other and that folks can know about the different options. So the October 25th Commemoration Event will be at the Colisée. We're preparing for up to 3,000 people, from security to parking. There's parking shuttles that'll be running from 4 o'clock on from the Southern Gateway Garage and the Oak Street or Park Street Garage. We have 2 shuttles for each of those venues that'll be moving people up to the Colisée, as well as some accessible parking at the Colisée. So there's a group of us, the One Lewiston Resilience Fund Committee, that we started this committee, I think, back in probably April, after some of the fundraising activities that we had done to support victims and families had been allocated and everybody had gotten their funds. We started a new fund that we're managing on behalf of the city of Lewiston and supporting the committee work behind that. And the goal of this is the long-term economic and community healing from October 25th. For us, and what the committee kind of really fine-tuned in on, was both ensuring that our community remembered this day in a thoughtful way with the commemoration event, and that we are planning the establishment of a permanent memorial. And what we've really articulated, and is really challenging for some people for very, very good, very valid reasons, that the process by which we plan and establish the permanent memorial is as healing as the memorial itself. It would be very easy to get a sign up or to engrave a stone. The way that we engage these communities and find out what's important to honor, what's important to educate, what's important to remember, is part of the healing journey. And lots of communities, our peer communities, sometimes take 7 to 10 years to establish a memorial, and they're very beautiful. They hit the notes of art and culture and thoughtfulness and reflection, nature. So we're looking at the different elements of it and what should be there, and then engaging our directly impacted communities, our survivors and our victims, our first responders, the deaf community. I think things that we already know without knowing where it'll be or what it will look like yet is that it's really important to us that it's not just about Lewiston. The impact of that day went so far behind one set of municipal boundaries.
For sure.
Yeah, it's across the state. It's outside of the state, right?
Yeah.
We know that there's folks that are feeling this anniversary coming up in Florida, for example. And so the event itself, the doors will open at 5. We'll begin the program around 6. It's a free event. It's not a ticketed event in any way, shape, or form. It's fully accessible. So we'll have ASL interpretation on the stage. We'll have picture-in-picture or side-by-side, depending on which part of the program, in the 2 20-foot screens on the stage to make sure everyone in the room can see it. And we'll have closed captioning, and all of that will also be live stream fed.
Perfect.
So, you can get information at onelewiston.org, and I would say we're updating that. There's another round of updates that'll offer some additional detail that should be on there by Thursday. There's a Facebook event where we're also adding items as we confirm them into the discussion. The program is going to last about an hour and a half, and it's going to be a mix of speakers, performances, music, slideshows. The amount of thought and time that has gone into planning this event is not small. We've been planning it for 5 months. It's really important to us. I've been welcomed into the survivor group at the Maine Resiliency Center a number of times, and to talk about the ideas to the event, to get ideas for the event. They've been really engaged in song selections, and where the committee itself has survivors on it, has members of the deaf community on it, has economic development and business owners and first responders locally and state. It is a very thoughtfully selected group of folks who represent those who were impacted and who have made a commitment to go engage their peers who were impacted on some of the decisions that we're making. And so, which is to say, a lot of thought has gone into it, and we're human. And the thing that we've learned is that there is no one thing that works for everybody. Despite our best efforts, we fully expect that there will be some element of the event that either feels like it's missing or wasn't quite right for somebody, and we understand that. We have a kids activity area that'll be live streaming in from the floor. On the second floor, Lewiston Rec is doing a great job in making sure that it's not a drop-off childcare, but it is a kid activity where your kids can be loud and you can still know what's going on, and your partner and you can swap out for being inside if you want. And so that'll be there with interpretation. We'll have therapists and therapy dogs and a resource center on the first floor where people can find out a little bit more about some of the resources available to them. There'll be candles, not the kind that can catch on fire, more than 2,000 of them for different elements of the program. I don't know if I would say I'm looking forward to it. I have to be honest, the day is a marked day for me as it is for so many others. But I am insanely proud of the event that we're putting together and the work that's gone into it. For us, it's about remembrance as well as resilience. And there's so many incredible stories of resilience. We have some really wonderful speakers who are survivors and are going to be able to speak a little bit about their own experience since the event and how their circle has come around them, how the community has come together. And so we want folks to leave feeling as though they are not in this alone and that we are on a journey towards something positive together. We'll end with a little touch note on the permanent memorial that's coming up, mostly to let people know that that's underway, and there's a couple of ways that they can sign up to stay informed so that they can be engaged in the different sessions that we'll be planning over the next year. So, yeah, it's a big day.
Yeah.
It's a big day. And there's not a day that goes by right now where it's not a very real conversation that I'm having for a good part of each day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The media has come around again. The media requests have come around again. There's a lot of things.
To be expected after a
year.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, every time I go to the Resilience Center, the way in which the survivors have found community in each other and strength, they just amaze me every time. And I am grateful for being welcomed into their space. Truly, truly.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And going into so much detail. I was getting
Sorry.
goosebumps. No, I appreciate it.
Well,
and I'm sure our
people
listeners
want to
do as
know.
well.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that, I spent a fair bit of time last night chatting with a survivor who just doesn't know all the details. We met yesterday to finalize so many elements of the program, and this person doesn't know that, doesn't have that information. So many people don't. And part of that is because We're not going to publicize the names of the survivors who are in the program. We'll announce them on the stage. But how do you plan an event where everybody who has a vested interest in being there also has 100% right to not show up at the last minute?
Yeah.
Right.
How do you plan that? From security to speakers to to make space for, thank you for being willing to share your story. And you can choose at 5:58
Right.
Not to.
to leave, to go to the kids' room, to sit all the way in the back. And so the way in which we're representing that on the program, which needs to get printed today for the Braille copies so that we can get the Braille copies back, that has to get finalized today. So we've been finalizing the details and careful about which parts we make public when, mostly to give people choice.
Yeah.
But the truth is, for anyone who's ever experienced any trauma, your ability to prepare for something that could be re-traumatizing, whether it's a funeral, a memorial event, the more you know, and the further you know it in advance, the more you can prepare yourself for being there in the moment. And so, it is not lost on us that getting the details out, all of the details, not just like the door opens and it's going to be a 90-minute program, but all of the details is actually a support for so many who are impacted. So thank you for asking and giving me a place to say it, because we want that information to reach people.
And that is happening October 25th at the Colisee in Lewiston at 6 p.m.
Doors open at 5. You'll want to get there early. You'll want to go to the parking garages and take shuttles.
Parking sounds like it might be a little bit of an issue, but you guys have taken care of it.
Thanks. We're really trying. Yeah. There's about 700 spots outside, and there's a Lewiston home game that night at 7. Oh. Yeah. So, yes, it's not homecoming. Thank goodness. I was like, please don't make it homecoming, because that would have been a lot down in that area. But no, with the parking and security, we feel good about the event and making sure that folks who need accessible parking and need to get into the lot, that there's enough spots and they'll be able to. I will say, and I'll give a plug for this, go to onelewiston.org, find out the information, but we need volunteers. We need volunteers for everything from the parking to supporting the choir and making sure they know their room and making sure they can get to the stage. Like, it's everything and in between. And we would welcome volunteers. If you're not sure, just call the LA Metro Chamber. Check us out online, but would love to have some help.
Thank you. Let's close with something a little more uplifting.
Yeah.
Not that this isn't.
Yeah.
But
it's heavy work. Even the bright days are heavy, and that's just real and fair.
We touched on it earlier. You have a podcast that is launching this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Build, Lead, Thrive, the Voices of Androscoggin. Mm-hmm. And the first episode should come out, I think, tomorrow we're slated for, which is really exciting. And then we're recording our next episode. And I can't do it every day like you guys. You're a machine over here. Ours is twice a month. And it's the stories behind business and community here in Androscoggin County. Our first episode, I thought, went really well. Peter Flanders, he's involved in a couple of different elements of business. So, he has a regular day job. He's been working at Lee Auto Mall for years, but then he also owns, is one of the co-owners of Bon Vivant, of Sonder and Dram. He also has both a residential and commercial property management company where he owns units of housing. And so, it's I thought it was a really great interview to be able to highlight kind of what I'm hoping to uncover and share with listeners is the way in which so much is interconnected, and some of our local trends really mirror some of these. I think there's so often that we can be here in our bubble of the larger LA area and be like, oh, it's so hard here. This thing is so just us. And there's so many places that are both dealing with the same thing and have really great strategies for dealing with some of those things. And we have so many assets in this area. And so highlighting that. And so I'm excited.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have time for 3 random questions?
Always. Yeah.
Okay. And we may throw a wrinkle in at the end. We've been testing this where we ask you a scruple.
What's a scruple?
A scruple
That's
is
what I said.
It's a moral dilemma.
So when someone says you have no scruples, they're saying you have no morals, dilemmas.
You have no morals. Scruples is like your moral.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, bring it on.
3 random questions with Shanna Cox.
Yeah.
Where is your happy place?
Oh, my garden. I have this tiny little postage stamp lot in town, and we have slowly made my garden into, like, I have a little bubbling pond, and I have a variety of perennials that bloom throughout the season with different colors, different textures, and I can sit in my backyard morning, noon, night, and immediately find peace.
Garden's a good place.
Yeah. Well, in Maine, it's good about half the year.
Yeah.
so if my stress level's up or I feel less happy in March, you know why.
Yeah.
Send me to the botanical
you need
gardens.
some vitamin D.
Yeah, that's right.
Sarah, you got one?
I got one. What is the laziest thing you have ever done?
So if you were here at the top of the hour. It's my partner's a religious listener, so he's going to hear this, and then I'm never going to live this down. But if I was to be honest, the laziest thing I'd ever done, I do regularly, and that's when I sit in one spot and say out loud, "Babe, have you seen my phone?" And I know where it is.
You just want him to get it.
I'm never gonna live this down. I'm giving up my secrets right now. I'm generally speaking pretty bad about asking for help. I've worked on that. It's like my life's work. I'm never gonna be done with it.
Me too.
But these moments of like very low energy and kind of like decision fatigue and overwhelm that very busy people, women, men, but particularly in my experience as a mom, holding all the things, there are these moments where like I can't find my feet. They're right there in the bottom of your ankles, babe. I know, but they're cold, right? Like there's anyway, I don't know what you would call that as like the ultimate lazy, but that whole genre is that.
I can relate. On
Yeah.
So many levels.
And there's so many people that can. You're either that person in the relationship or the like, she's gonna ask for her phone. I might as well just grab it because I see it on the counter as I'm walking through the room. Because they're already thinking ahead.
I'm just very, very forgetful. So my partner has to just always know where everything is
Yeah.
at all times. In fact, more so than he probably should.
See, you have so many file folders in your head. I've got the filing cabinets and the file folders, and I stuff all the good, important information. Who's allergic to what? When's
Yeah.
your mother's birthday? Where
So
my
much
phone
stuff.
is? No.
Yeah.
Nope. There's no room in the filing cabinets for things like that.
I was once asked to bring some clothing for my significant other to a show because I was coming from home. And I obviously forgot because that's what I do. But when I got there, he was like, did you bring me clothes? And I said no. And he was like, I figured he had gone to Macy's.
He'd already figured it
And he had his own clothes.
He knew. That's love.
I mean,
That's love.
I can't do everything.
No, that's love.
Pam?
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, guys.
Is it Staying Alive?
Really hitting the heart of it today. Lottie Dottie by Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Love it.
I could freestyle the whole thing right now. I won't. I'm not going to do that. You cannot pay me to do that. The couple of
Wait.
we don't cause
Pam's
trouble.
doing
We
it.
don't bother nobody. We're just some sisters who on the mic, and when we rock up on the mic, we rock the
she
mic.
did do
right. Anyway, no, I didn't take it all the way home. I can take it all the way home. Here's my point. I've karaoke'd like 4 times in my life. Lottie Dottie's been 3 of them. Somewhere one of them was recorded, and it was not my best moment in life, let alone karaoke. It's not my strong moment.
Must have been cocktails involved.
Yeah. I think it was
Usually.
a bachelorette party. Like it was like when I say not my best moment, I mean historically, really not. I was like really not my Lottie Dottie. I'd love to tell you it's anything else. Like I will survive. No, it's Lottie Dottie.
All right.
I like it.
I have a scruples question for
Okay.
you.
Well, that wasn't it.
No.
Pretty scruply.
No. So this one we tested out on our first Scruple contestant, which was Grace Kendall from Safe Voices.
Nice.
And I was wondering if it was a good question, so I started asking it to various people, and I got a whole
Range
lot
of-
of different answers. So, love to get your take on it.
Okay.
Someone you don't really like invites you out to dinner to an expensive restaurant that you've always wanted to try.
Yeah.
Do you go?
Yes. And I order the ribeye.
Knew it. Knew it.
Was that the question? Was it?
I knew it. I was like, oh no, Shanna will go.
Yeah. I actually, and not just because I like a good steak on someone else's tab, though. That's nice. I've actually made it a practice in the last 10 years of my career, very intentionally, to spend a certain amount of time, not all my time, nowhere near the majority of my time, but to spend a certain amount of time with people I don't like, looking for commonality and the ability to understand them. I think that it strengthens me as a professional. I think it strengthens me as a human. And I have found surprising opportunities for projects and initiatives that have come from working with people that you don't necessarily like. And this is a hot take. Not everybody's going to agree with this. It's totally fine. Everybody each to their own. Don't come at me. But the reality is that I believe very strongly that if you have a similar goal and can find that commonality to work from, I don't need to like you or want to spend extra time with you or even to trust you. And if the shared goal that we have is important enough to me, I will overcome those things. It does not mean that I will trust you. Does not mean I will open up, parts of myself to you that you have not earned the right to. But there are a lot of folks who if I don't like you, I don't trust you, I'm not going to work with you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to connect with you. And I think that in a world that's increasingly divided, it closes down so many necessary avenues for opportunities that we're not even opening ourselves up to. And there are a handful of people in my life that I feel so strongly I would not go to dinner. I would not. But by and large, it's a very, very, very small group. And by and large, I think it's worth it to hear someone else's perspective that is not your natural orientation. It's not your starting point. Yeah. Did I?
Yes.
Is that what you expected me to say?
100% sense.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and I think you kind of answered it, if it was someone that you didn't like and also you felt you weren't going to accomplish anything from that dinner.
That part.
You know what I mean?
If I had it on good authority that there was no ability, because I'll hear and even consider your point of view. I will change my mind. I'm happy to change my mind. Give me good information and a reason to change my mind. If I had enough in exchange with somebody that I knew that type of exchange was not possible, then no. But that really is that's a very different point, right? For sure.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be, there's no point to it.
No productivity.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time today.
Always love you guys.
It's always a pleasure. She is Shanna Cox, President and CEO of the Lewiston Auburn Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. And if you would like more information on the October 25th Commemoration Event, visit onelewiston.org. Thanks to our sponsors, Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and UPI Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And if you would like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email. She'll get it on her phone now. It's Pam at LydiaMediaLLC.com. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with a couple of Maine Nordiques in studio. Take care, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow.
We don't cause trouble. We don't bother nobody. We're just some sisters who on the mic and when we rock up on the mic.